right, glad to have you back. Still Daybreak Africa coming to you live from our studio here in Lagos, Nigeria. If you are current with the situation happening in Nigeria, you discover that the case and issue of sexual abuse has been on the front burner lately. And today, dissecting the topic sexual abuse happens to be Damilola Owolabi, who is a sexual abuse recovery expert here in Lagos, Nigeria. She'll be talking about sexual abuse and how we can understand the concept better and better ways to avoid this scenario. Thank you very much for being a part of the program this morning.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. How was the journey to this place? Was it stressful?
Not too much.
Lagos traffic here and there. I think it's the case we have. But let's dive into the topic, sexual abuse. For the sake of the viewers watching this morning, how would you define the concept for us?
Sexual abuse is in different phases.
Yeah.
Sexual abuse can be done to a child, to an adult, to a male, to a female. Sexual abuse is necessarily not when a man forcefully sleeps with a woman. When you touch the sensitive part of a woman, or a woman touch other sensitive part of a man, is an abuse. When I'm talking about sensitive part, there are two different parts and segments of our body system. We have the private, we have the public, which we'll be going into maybe later in the show. But when you go to the extent of touching some areas of a woman body, either man, woman, child, old, young, forcefully or in an abnormal way, then it's an abuse. So when we talked about sexual abuse is also in a phase where you make someone watch a film, a nudity film, a blue film. It's also categorized to as sexual abuse. Sexual abuse is even when you say some things that has to do with sex and all of that into to someone, even without the consent of the person, is also an abuse. So there are different ways and categories and segments for this word sexual abuse. But the I want that people really categorize and really know is when you forcefully rape someone or when you forcefully sleep with someone. That is not the only part of sexual abuse. Even when you harass someone, hits the bum, it is also in the category of sexual abuse.
You know, you just broadened my knowledge about sexual abuse because some people, when they hear the word sexual abuse, they believe it's just children that usually experience this sexual abuse. And you make mention of a man, a woman. Is it possible for a man to be sexually abused?
Oh yes, we've had a lot of cases of men that are also abused. Yes, though in statistics we have many women who speak out than men. Men don't really speak out because of the way they are just naturally created. You know, this they naturally have this egoism and keeping things to themselves. But we have men that have been abused. Example is a lady boss trying to let a younger staff sleep with him, with her. It's an abuse. Also, we've had mothers who had abused their son. We've had female house help who had abused their August sons. So we've also had a lot of, there's a case brought to my office recently, an aunt living with them, and the boyfriend who she has been used with and she has been sexually addicted to, left her for another person. And one day she got her roast in the house and she needed someone to just touch her. She took this young boy who happens to be the son of her own sister, and then she said, please start touching my breasts, start touching my, and lo and behold, this boy learned how to suck the breasts, this boy learned how to lick the vagina, this boy learned many things. And now the issue the boy is going through now is the auntie is married, the boy is now in school and cannot control that addiction. Now he is now abusing other people. So we had a lot of cases on men abuse too. It's not just only child. It's not only about child abuse. In fact, we have more ladies being abused. We even have old grandmas being abused. Trust me, many things happen on this matter of abuse.
Because we heard recently on the news that a 13-year-old boy raped a 60-year-old woman the news.
That is funny, but it's a serious one.
It's very, very serious one.
All right. Now, there are so many issues that we are going to tackle this morning, and I'm glad that you are bringing up a number of issues. But let's start first of all. What can we pinpoint as the actual causes of sexual abuse? What leads to them?
There are many ways to what leads to the sexual abuse. And now I'm going to go straight to the point to parents.
Okay.
Now, everything that happens, the generation of anything that happens starts from a family. So let's deal with it from the scratch, which the foundation is a family.
Level, yeah.
Now, to parents, there are some certain things that we are supposed to put in measures with our children. And I want to quickly share this simple example. I remember that there's a story of a girl who the parents, because of financial issue, took to live with their relative, and from there she was abused. Now, there are many causes of this sexual abuse. Some planned, some unplanned. Yes. Okay, somebody like this girl, she never planned it, the parent never planned it, but the parent thought they trusted the people they kept the girl with enough, but things happen. Now, all those faults majorly and causes used to come from the parents, and that is why we parents have to put in place some check and balance. Now, part of the causes of sexual abuse is inadequate information to the children and even the parents.
As a place of sex education.
Exactly, sex education. Now, in other civilized countries, there is now a compulsory curriculum for sexual education in schools. But here we are still struggling, we are still fighting on how to now begin to imbibe these teachings into our educational system. But yes, it's been going on well, but not as well as
civic education.
Yes, but not as well as it should. The rate, if we calculate the rate at which the increase of sexual assault and abuse is growing, then you will know that the rate at which the education is being taught in our schools and our home is not enough yet. So we still need a lot more work to do. So when it comes to the causes, part of the causes, one of the major causes is the parents not having adequate information. Now, some parents don't know that there are some signs that when you see it in your children, you should know it's a red alert that something is wrong. A child will want to talk to a parent about, oh, somebody touched me today, and because of the hustle and bubbling of Lagos, of anywhere, we have gone to the office and we are back in the night, and the child comes to you and say, mommy, 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 and you say, leave me this girl, leave me this boy, let me rest. You talk too much. Yes, I know many parents are guilty of this. Not deliberately sometimes. Not deliberately. So I wouldn't blame most of us. But we need to now begin to create time. We need to create bond. We need to create friendship. We need to listen to them. And sometimes some children try to talk out, but the parents don't believe them. I have a case that I'm treating presently, and the girl said, I told my mom that my neighbor abused me. Two cases, but my mom did not believe me. The second one said, I told my mom that our younger brother abused me, but my mom did not believe me. We also had one, I told my mom that my dad abused me, but she didn't believe me. In fact, one of the moms said, please don't destroy the family, just keep it, let's keep it with ourselves. So there are so many cases and so many. Now, part of the causes is not the children, even while they are going in different stages. When I mean the children, I'm even referring to teenagers and youths, even in the growing stage. Not having right and adequate information. Part of the information I'm talking about, which I mentioned earlier, is teaching our children the different segment of the part of our body. We have the private part and the public part. When we talk about the private part, we can see the ear are things that are part of our body that we can see. The eyes, the ear, the head,
parts.
and yes, they are the public parts rather. And when we talk about the private parts are the parts of our body that clothes covers. And it should be for us alone, and nobody should touch. And there are many cases and scenarios that I can share on and on about a child that don't know this information and how the child has been abused just because a brother is touching, and because I don't know, he just said I should not talk. He gave me biscuit and sweets, and that is it.
You know, I really love your
Analogy.
your analogy about it. Now, you spoke about child sexual abuse now, but in your explanation earlier, you said even adults get abused. So what are the causes, especially in the workplace now, talking about the work environment? What are the causes of this sexual abuse, even to adults?
Okay, now, in this society we have now, there are some things that are abnormal that have now become a normal thing.
Yeah.
Now you are going for interview. It's now a normal thing that when you get to interview places, they tell you, wet my grease my bed, and then you get the job and you get favored and all of that, even amongst colleagues and all of that. Now it's now a normal thing that now runs in society, not specifically because the person is not dressing well, because I can start telling you now that the cause might be the way you dress, the way you look, you know, the way you present yourself, which is part of the cause. But majorly sometimes
It might not be that.
it might not be that. It might not be part of it. You understand? So part of the causes of sexual abuse for adults is the way you present yourself, the way you carry yourself. Okay. You are always asking and demanding every time for recharge card, for data, for this, for that. And yet, you don't want to give the guy sex. And you are expecting that he should not do anything back in return. Also, you are walking in the streets. You walk late in the night. You dress, your cleavage is showing. You're on the bike. And we can see your pants and all of that. I quickly want to share this. Part of the case that was brought to my table recently. A guy traced a girl down to her house and ganged up against that girl. They kidnapped the girl, took her to the bush, and raped her. By the time we caught this guy, after many investigations, and speaking to the guy, we found out that the guy said, I was driving past. I saw her on bike, and I saw a D-string showing on bike, and I couldn't, a G-string and these beads they wear, the waist bead, and I couldn't help it. I got aroused and I had to trail her. After trailing her, I tried talking to her, but she was proving stubborn, and the next thing we could do after talking to my friend was that. Now this girl, in her mind, did not pray for that kind of scenario, but never knew that she had opened a particular channel for it. So there are many different causes of these things that we need to watch. Part of it is dressing well. It's not a normal thing. Gone are those days where when you wear a mini skirt, you're a mad woman. Gone are those days where when you wear clothes that reveal, you're a mad woman. But now it's not a normal thing, and parents are not even cautioning or even saying anything about it, even to the married people. Yes, married people too are being abused.
All right, now let's deal with the major issue. Some time ago, I had a psychologist here talking about, I think we're talking about the issue of suicide. And a whole lot of people have committed suicide because of the traumatic experience that comes from sexual abuse. You are a sexual abuse recovery expert. How should someone that has, you know, a victim of sexual abuse deal with the traumatic experience that comes with it?
Okay, what we do majorly in this part of the world is we deal with the predator instead of the abuser. When an abuse case is reported, we deal majorly with the predator instead of the abuser. For me, if any abuse case is brought to my table, I first of all deal with the abuser before even dealing with the predator. Because my major concern now is I want the abuser to be healed.
Yeah, because if not, he will go about doing more harms. Yeah.
I want this person that has been abused to be healed. Then we cannot face this predator issue. Now, the reason why many people commit suicide is the stigmatization that the world and the society have placed on this thing. You know, when they hear, he has been raped, and there's this look, there's this as if he or she deliberately brought it upon is herself. Number one. Number two is the aspect of not finding somebody to talk to. Or even when you decide to voice out, not seeing someone to believe what you have said. It's enough to make people think. And again, part of the side effects of abuse is sleepless nights, flash.
Talk about suicidal thoughts.
Suicidal thoughts and all of that. So the reason why many people commit suicide is because they couldn't speak out, or rather they speak out, but they did not believe them enough.
No one gave them listening ears.
Exactly. And even if they believe them enough and try to fight the case and all of that, they don't help to treat the person that is being abused. Instead, they are facing and looking for the predator. Whereas the first option and the first thing to do is to help the person that has been abused,
the victim,
heal the victim, to heal first, before now even tackling the predator. So the process of not going through therapy stage and the healing process is what leads to the societal mission.
All right, thank you so much for that. So you know we're talking about understanding sexual abuse now. So many people misunderstand all these terms like sexual abuse, sexual harassment, sexual assault, sexual molestation. Can you please just share your thoughts about all these terms?
Okay, now let's be sincere with ourselves. They are just all English. It's under one umbrella.
Yeah.
Okay. They are just all English. I want to cite an example. You have a phone. We have a mobile phone. We have a telephone. Yeah. Is it not the same thing? You understand?
They all make phone calls.
They all make phone calls. So all these names, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, sexual assault, they are channeling and pointing towards one direction, but it's just used in different time and language.
All right. My most important question, which happens to be the issue you raised earlier, talking about the family background and how we deal with people, you know, how parents deal with children, especially in African setting. I want you to just elaborate on that. What would be your words on that, especially talking to parents in terms of dealing with your children? You really need to handle your children in a cruel manner. I think there should be a sense of understanding always, so that your children can, in a way, have confidence in trusting you. Okay.
Number one, let me start from parents. It's high time we begin to take responsibility to talk to our children. Yeah. Gone are those days where our parents would not go deep in telling us some things because they believe. But now, if you don't tell them,
they will know by themselves.
TV, internet, peer groups, and all of the likes will tell them. Now you need to now create a bond, a relationship with your children more. First thing first, which is very important, is from a tender age, introduce your boy and your girl into your religious value that you believe in. Either you're a Christian or you're a Muslim. Let them have the sense of faith in God, and let them know that there are some things that are sin. You understand?
It's immoral.
Exactly. Now, apart from that, the next thing is to create time. No matter how busy you are from morning to night, when they are saying, just like they will tell a man that when you come back from work, women talk a lot, but take time and listen. The same thing is applicable for parents. Now, when I mean parents, I'm not talking about mothers alone. It is time for even fathers to rise up to responsibilities, because children nowadays not even they listen to their father more. because there's this authority, there's this familiarity, too much of familiarity between mothers and children, you know, because they spend a lot of time. But when father comes in with their things and exactly, but not just all the time verdict. Let's create relationship with them. And now parents now need to be equipped with the knowledge of knowing what sexual abuse is, of knowing this thing I just talked about, the private and the public part. And don't say your totoro, your boom boom, your this. Call it what it is. Because they know it.
They know it already.
Exactly. Call it what it is. And stop saying they are too young, they are too this, they are too that. Yes, there are stages. There are stages of the limit of what you should say. I'm writing a book on different stages on what you should teach your children about sexual abuse. Now, talk to them and let them be able to talk back to you. Make it an open-ended discussion. Let them confide in you. To you. And when they say something, don't just shut them down. Investigate on the issue more. Now, also, fathers should stop dressing up in the presence of their children. Mothers should stop dressing up in the presence of their children. Now, parents should keep their privacy. Because some children will see some acts that their father and their mother do at home, and they transfer it to their friends.
Practicality.
Exactly. Now, when your children begin to have friends, know the kind of friends they have. And even your adult children, may befriend with them on Facebook, befriend with them on Instagram. By so doing, you can
know the content that they put
exactly, and the kind of friends they are following. And when they bring friend home, don't chase them away. Get to know them, get to know their kind of friends, and even what you can eavesdrop on what they are saying. And so you'll be able to differentiate between the bad friend and the good friend. All right, another thing I also want to pinpoint is separate the boys' room from the girls' room. And don't do a special treatment. As you are teaching the girl about sex education, teach the boy too about sex education. And now there's an important thing I need to discuss. You know, there's this thing our mothers and our fathers used to do then. Once a girl starts menstruation, and the next thing they tell you is, instead of parents going into deep discussion to tell you, okay, this is the hygiene process, okay, this is what you should do, and the next thing you hear is, please permit me to use this language, Oti Dobirini, and like you are now a full-grown girl. And the thing is, if anybody touch you, bam, you are pregnant. And that is not how it is. That is not how it is. Exactly. It's high time we begin to let them know that there's something called sex. There's something called, and if you have sex, this is what will happen. Not just pregnancy. Let them know other diseases that are attached to having sex. You know, children of nowadays, they are very inquisitive. They want to really know more. So they will ask more questions. And that is why you parents too should make research and also know answers.
Because what you don't know, you cannot give. All right, thanks so much, because you've actually given us a bit of sex education right now. So I really want to ask, at what age do you think it's proper for parents to, or maybe the school, or to give sex education to their children? At what age?
As early as the boy and the girl can say father, mother.
Like 2 years?
Yes. Oh, yes. Now, we've seen a lot of experience and a lot of case of children, even in kindergarten class, taking themselves to the backyard and practicing what they see
that parents do.
This is really serious. All right, now, for the sake of time and before we wrap up this segment, I've followed numerous trends in the Nigerian society recently, and I discovered that the cases of sexual abuse is always lingering, because the policemen, the court will definitely ask for evidence here and there, and most of the time these evidences are not available. So as we wrap up this segment, what do you think in the near future? How do you think we should address this issue?
It's still something we still keep fighting for, and I don't want every one of us to keep silent on this matter. We need more hands in and more even justice to be done. Now, apart from the fact that getting justice for the victim is part of the healing process for the victim.
Okay.
It's part of the healing process. So we need our policemen, we need our legislation, we need our judiciary arm. These are part of the bills that should be passed.
Yeah.
Not bills of what we can't even talk about. You understand? These are part of the bills that should be passed, and then justice should be done. Now, when a girl is being raped, the first thing first the girl should do is to report the case. And we've had cases of the lady went to the hospital first before going to report the case, and when we got to the police station, the police said there's nothing they can do. The lady is supposed to come to them with the blood, with the this, with the that. Okay, we agreed. Now after them, another one happened. We went with the blood, with the everything, but this other party, the predator, their family, they are high and mighty. They paid them off, and that was the end of the case. And the more you keep going and fighting this case, the more it keeps affecting the victim psychologically. So please, we need our government to do something more on our judiciary arm to give a firm law, a standing law. Yes, there is, but it's not enough to silence those people.
Wow, thank you very much for your contribution this morning. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Definitely hope to have you some other time.
Yeah.
All right, so this will be calling a wrap on this segment. I think you've heard from Damilola talking about sex education, which is a very key factor in addressing the issue of sexual abuse. Right now, we'll take a very quick break, and when we come back, the show continues.